NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit when other lenders say no. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. If approved, applications are typically funded the next business day or sooner. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, I'm Debbie Millman, and I host a podcast called Design Matters from the TED Audio Collective. Every episode, I have conversations with designers, writers, artists, and other luminaries of contemporary thought. People like Roman Mars, Ai Weiwei, Ethan Hawke, and Ashley Ford. We not only talk about their crafts, but how they design the arc of their lives, what they've learned, what obstacles they've overcome and how they've done it, and how they see the world. Join us for an inquiry into the broader world of creative culture. Find and follow Design Matters with Debbie Millman wherever you're listening to this.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Welcome, guys, to a bonus episode of Heavy Metal Tones. Wow, more of me. I know you're crying. I can't get enough of me. I can't get enough of myself, to be honest. Sometimes I'm over myself. Hey, anyway, I thought, why not? I've been doing some really good interviews recently, and I thought I just want to jump in and talk about this particular record. Now, I've had Antagonizor on the show before as an interview, and I've also reviewed their brilliant debut album, Edgelords from Hell. But there was an album they did before, or EP, whichever way you want to look at it, when they were the original lineup with Sarah Zutway and Michelle on drums before their drum slave. They have an album called Heavy Metal Bootlicker, which came out on the 1st of June 2023. It's actually one of my favorite sort of crossover albums / EPs I've listened to in a very long time. What I really like about it is that it really digs into that second wave of punk, that sort of more political and aggressive punk that came out of the UK in around about 1980 to 81. Bands like The Exploited, GBH, all those kind of really kind of not oi bands, because I'm not a big fan of oi, but not skinhead bands, but they were more sort of politically driven, far more economically driven. So even more so than original punk, whereas original punk was a mixture of fun and also of message. This later stuff, like by The Exploited and all those kind of bands, UK DK and so on. They at Crass and very much so like that. They were much more about using the music to tell the world exactly how terrible that their situation was, and they were trying to get a message across. And sometimes people call it unmusical. I actually think that's a very dated and inadequate term. We listen to extreme metal now that is even more unlistenable than sometimes than this early punk, I said second wave of punk. And so when people say, oh, it's unlistenable, I think they really are sort of just doing it to be spiteful, to be honest. There are some fascinating bands that came out in and around that time, and I own most of that stuff on vinyl, and I go back into it every now and again because it has a sort of precursor to everything that we love in modern extreme metal. Actually, and I've talked about this before on the show. It has that real kind of sort of attack and power and speed and energy, and it's exactly what Sarah and Zutwe and Michel had got here in the embryos of their first outing out into the recorded world. It's a brilliant. It doesn't last long, right? So it's 18 minutes, 8 songs. That says it all for you, right? It doesn't hang around. Now, luckily, I've been given permission to play my favorite track off of the album. I'm going to play it now, and then we're going to come back and quickly chat about the album itself. This song is called Ammunition, right? Now, as the band live in the US, we all know, sadly, that there is a lot of gun problems in the US, particularly around schools and shopping malls and so on. This one really wrenched at my heart when I heard it. It's to me the pinnacle, the perfect reproduction, if you want to say, of the kind of music that was sort of on the fringes of the charts back 81, 82. Really to the point, really emotional, really powerful. No fucking around. Okay, there's no, oh, we might, we could try and do something with prose. No, this has nothing to do with that. This is right in the heart of the problem, and you walk away singing the chorus to yourself all the time. And you can't help yourself wondering, why am I doing that? But then when you get to the end of the track, and there's a little bit, I won't spoil it, but stay right to the end of the song, because right at the end there's a little bit that sort of they tacked on that really made me stop and think. It is a brilliant piece of music, and I'm really thankful that they let me put this. This is a rawer version, possibly, because Sarah was saying that she hasn't had looked at the files for some time when she sent it to me. So either way, it's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to hand it over to Antagonizor from Florida, my good friends, and brilliant underground band, for their track Ammunition off of Heavy Metal Bootlickers. And I will see you on the other side, and we'll chat about each of the tracks following there. Bye for now. Enjoy this and play it loud.
It's a civilians. School shooting. Okay, yes, ma'am. I have multiple units there. Are you with officers or are you barricaded somewhere?
I'm in classroom 1012. Please hurry. There's a lot of dead bodies.
Well, there you go. I mean, you really aren't going to get any better than that, honestly. And it's hidden away, really sadly, stuff like this is hidden away deep in the recesses of Spotify and streaming platforms and the world, because music has evolved to a point where you only see what people want you to see. Now, I'm not going to go into this whole problem of music and screaming. I've already talked about it. I didn't want to go on about it. But this is so much exactly right out of that book, as I mentioned, all those brilliant bands, some brilliant, some terrible, some forgotten, some memorable. You know, it reminds me of something that maybe Slaughter and the Dogs might have done. You know, it really does. It has that kind of real precursor to all that extreme noise, terror stuff, and all of the Napalm Death precursor in there. Yeah, it's got some of its modern DNA in there. Of course it does. It has, but that because this young lady's, particularly Sarah, who's a songwriter, is living through that time, but she's really has the zeitgeist right in the palm of her hand with this piece of music. You would if the Dead Kennedys released this in, say, I don't know, 1990, 89 or 90 or whatever, everyone would be going, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I think people need to get their ears around it. Anyway, bang on and crash on. Now we've heard that and taken our breath away. Let's have a listen to, let's go for the tracks. Okay, we've got Impaled by My Middle Finger. This is an instrumental piece, but it's almost straddles, it straddles both worlds, right? It has a real new wave of British heavy metal feel, but it also has got a real modern extreme metal feel. It also has a real sort of punk vibe that comes through to it. And what I like about it is you start with an instrumental, which is an unusual thing to do for a band, but I think that it's got a very, very catchy chorus, a hook in its guitar pieces. It's got a real thunderous bass. I think it's probably some of the best bass that Zootway I've heard so far with her on the. I love this bass line on here. And Michelle on drums. I mean, yes, is she anything like the drum slave from the latest album and the new drummer? Different beast, I think. Different beast. They do complement each other in both eras, to be honest with you. But yeah, I really like the way that it opens with this sort of quiet, and it just suddenly stops. It's not. It doesn't give you time to catch your breath. Really, I mean, less than 2 minutes long. I really love the ascending, descending guitar chorus parts, up and down. It really, actually excites me. It really excites me and drives me along. I love it. And it's just right to open the album, or the EP, or however you like to look at it. It's really quite good, great way of opening up. Because then we get the title track, Heavy Metal Bootlicker. Now, this is an anguished cry from someone who has clearly had problems with someone who is, giving lip service to things when they shouldn't, saying things are amazing when they're probably not. I don't know the full story behind this song, and I'm sure Sarah, when I have her on next, can tell me exactly what it's about. But for me, it just sounds like it's about someone who's clearly not a nice person and there for the wrong reasons. I also think it's about fakeness as well, about people who wear, say, a battery shirt but have no idea who they are. I just like the fact that it's got the goat of Mendes on the front of it, that kind of thing. There's very few people who can sing the word fundamentally quite as well as Sarah can in this lyric. It's just, it really attacks you. It's very fast, very, very fast. It's very driven. It's only 2 minutes and 59 seconds long. It doesn't hang around. It's actually I was going to say it's probably my second favorite tracks on the album, but it would actually be possibly true. I like the whole lot of the tracks on here, but this one, it's just sort of, it says it all really, because the cover itself is a nice hand drawn black and white right in that sort of underground look of three punks attacking a guy in a battle jacket and a cap. Looks like he's probably a bit of a false one, where he says he's living for the rights of, he's got all this passion and ideas, but really he just wants to go and shop in Walmart, right, and plays computer games. Anyway, it's followed by ADHD. Now this is a real jarring one, quite a sad one, but very, very interesting. It's so fast, it's so manic, it so captures what I believe people do feel in the way they feel when they have ADHD. Of course, I don't have that, so I can't speak for myself, but I have lots of friends and family members that do. And Sarah herself has it, and it is the way that she manically speeds through this song about it, taking over her and all that sort of uh, explosion of energy and ideas and thought that you get, I believe, with ADHD. The not being able to, sorry about stumbling, not being able to stop and take time to reflect. Just always moving, always doing something, always got something going on. I think there's a definite coalition. That's the word. There's definitely a correlation. Must just think of the ocean. Correlation. There's definitely a correlation, I think, between neurodivergency and in extremely artistic people. I think that their brain possibly works in a different way, and of course it does, as we know, because that's the reason why ADHD and things like this is diagnosed. But it creates incredible um, art visions and ideas, and I think Sarah's is classic example is because the both this album and Edgelords from Hell just are a marvelous sign of how really good Sarah is with both her direction, her thought patterns, and her musicality. Anyway, it's just fast, it's furious, it is does almost take you on an audio journey on what it would be like to be having ADHD. And those that have it, please, if I'm wrong, don't mean to be. I don't mean to be saying things that might offend. This is just how I assume it to be. Anyway, then we come to Pearl Clutcher. Now, Pearl Clutcher is again another really fast one, very much like Ammunition. It repeats its chorus line very, very fast, very aggressive, very on point. I'm not sure exactly what Pearl Clutcher is about. I would say I think it's more like a somewhat, the rich people, the middle class people that hold their pearls. I think it's to do with the haves and the have-nots, to be honest, and the difference between working class and blue collar old money, if you know what I mean. This one really, really takes me back to those underground singles that used to buy with the hand drawn covers for bands that you could possibly not have never heard of or never will hear again at a flea market where they're selling their punk records. There's a real, it has a real exploited. I keep going back to Exploited, but I really hear the Exploited a lot in this album, and particularly GBH. I've mentioned it before when I talked to the ladies, but this has a real GBH feel to it, a real punch and swagger and aggression, and fast, man. It's fast. I don't know how she's doing it, but it's blisteringly fast, and I absolutely love it. And almost to the point where the chorus is you can't quite understand what she's saying because she just wants to spit out with such venom. This pearl clutcher lyric just wants to get out to keep up with the speed of the music because the drums on here are really, really good. I actually love the drums on this track. It follows before Ammunition, which we've talked about before at the beginning of the show, so I'm not going to cover that now. But as we said before, school shootings. This is very, very, very. It's a very sad track, but it gets followed by a really, in my opinion, uplifting track. Now, this recording, this album EP, whatever you want to call it, um, for me is a very personal journey that we've been taken on by Sarah through things that she's lived through in her life. She's only young, but she's lived through a lot of stuff. Now, this song here, NA, I talked to her about this. I actually think this is really fantastic because NA in the track name means non-alcohol. So it's her telling the world that I don't drink anymore. I drink NA, right? Because there are, in the rock and roll community, the punk community, the young community, seen to not be drinking can be seen a sign of weakness, which is an absolute bollocks. I said that really loudly into the mic, but bollocks, absolutely 100%. Drinking is a choice, not a non-negotiable. And I think that the fact that she can write this really powerful song about, hey, no, you can fuck off. I drink NA. I'm really proud I drink NA. I have come through this side. I'm going to look after myself. And I feel that possibly this is also directed at her lovely wife, Zoot Wei, because you know that you need to, when you are in a relationship and a committed relationship, you do need to look after yourself because you have other people to think about. And I think that is this sort of, I think, comes that way across to me. And honestly, I only have but high esteem and thoughts for someone that can go through that problem, come out the other side, and tell the world about it, and be proud of it, and fight against the misogyny, unfortunately, that is in the music industry, in the underground, particularly in the underground scene. There's a lot of that going on. Anyway, brilliant track, love it. Fast, aggressive, again, shouty choruses, very much in that early, that punk vein of that point, but with a heavy metal-y kind of vibe. It's still got that. You can see that there's still a big love for the new wave of British heavy metal, for black metal, extreme metal, but this is really Sarah's and Zoot Wei's and Michelle's sort of homage to all the amazing music that created the music that they play now and listen to now. I just think it's brilliant. And then we move on to a very powerful, I mean, this whole album is full of powerful moments, but this one, along with Ammunition, I toyed up with this track to have it on the show. This is my second choice, which is My Choice. Again, a very, very powerful, poignant, on-point track for an album made in 23, 2 years ago. This is about, sadly, the not the right not to have abortions in the United States of America. The fact that has been taken out of the hands of women. I'm not going to make this a political broadcast, but I'm just going to say, where I'm coming from with this sad and regressive and stupid uh, policy that the nation sadly is being forced to live through. So this song is about that, basically. My body, my choice. Exactly that. It's not complicated. It's the lady's view on control of their own body and their own destiny. And I think it is, as I said, I could have put it on first. I think along with Ammunition it's my favorite, like really powerful. It really stopped me in my tracks, particularly at the end again. I don't know how she did it, but that little bit at the end, that little 10-second audio clip at the end, will make you stop and think. It will make you stop and think. I was, you're listening to the song and you're singing along to it and you think this is really powerful. And then you get to the end and you go, and honestly, I've got a shiver down my spine. It made me, as a father of two daughters, adult daughters, it was something that really made me stop and want to just take a time to think about all those things that are happening right now in a modern 21st century country. It's beyond me. Listeners, it's absolutely beyond me. But it's relentless in its speed, aggression, and anger. This isn't a song that you can sing along to. Sarah really, you can feel the extreme passion and belief in what she's saying in her lyric here. And the music itself, it's clattery, it's powerful, it's really engaging and aggressive. And it's not the kind of subject matter that a song you could do this with a nice like pop song or even a heavy rock song. This has to be hardcore punk. This has to be straddling the extreme metal um, genres, because where else are you going to get that kind of extreme music to balance off the pure s- anger that these ladies are feeling right at the moment of recording and writing this song? All right, it's the perfect medium for the perfect lyric. And I said, hold on to your hats, because the end will bring a tear to your eye. 'Cause it did to me, just like ammunition. It did. It was a sucker punch to the solar plexus. And then we finish with Trump Cult, a very quick song, very fast, right on that edge of the sort of fastest songs you'll hear uh, anywhere. It's just says what it does on the packet. It says does what it says on the packet. Sorry, it's Trump Cult. That's it. It's just about Trump and the idiocies of the people that follow him, the ignorances, the blind faith and followers of a religion that is only servient. They're only serving them and no one else. So you know, this is very poignant, to be honest, right now. And if there's any listeners there that disagree with, fine, then do let me know. But I doubt it. It's quite obvious to the world exactly what he's doing and what they're all doing right now. And this song, you know, it makes me sad, really sad, because I've got very, very good friends over the years of doing this show. Um, I have met and spoken to some beautiful, intelligent, creative, wonderful Americans. Uh, you know, and unfortunately, the world gets its vision of America through major television, and people see Trump, and then they think all of them are like, are stupid enough to be in that situation. And so, unfortunately, we all know that situation is manipulated in a way to keep them in that situation. I've said situation 3 times now, 4. So, I think I'm done for that word for the month. I just want to lighten it. I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Sorry, it's quite heavy. But yeah, you understand what I'm saying, right? That you cannot judge a nation by its leader, sadly, because not all Russians are evil. Not all, you know, uh, Chinese are robots. It's just not the case. It, it's just not the case. It's just unfortunately the world itself. News is governed, as we know, um, by major outlets, and we see that information. But if you're like me, you can dig into the underground, particularly in the underground music scene. This is exactly why I love it, because then bands like this, who I latch onto, and I adore this band, I really do. And the ladies that make it, they tick all the boxes for me, musically, ethically, emotionally. They've somehow grabbed a little point in time where I was probably at my most uh, not happiest. That's the wrong term, but probably at my most. I had the most curiosity in music, and they sort of just found that and reignited it in a time when I needed it. They came along when my dad had only just passed away. I was struggling in life, and actually, I'll be honest with you, listeners. I was struggling whether I should keep doing the show, whether I should keep doing anything. And when they reached out to me to ask me to chat to them, or even just to review their album, and I put it on, it just straight away ignited a spark in me again, and I will always forever be thankful for them for that. And I hope that you do reach out and listen to this EP. It is easy to get. It's on all streaming platforms. You can't not find it. I will put a link in the show notes below for my Spotify link for it, but you'll be able to find it elsewhere, I'm sure. Anyway, that's enough for me for this little bonus episode. It's a brilliant EP. Got EP. I keep saying EP. I said album, but EP/album. Hey, come see, come saw, potato, potato. I'm sure that someone will say, no, it's not an EP, it's more than 3 singles. Anyway, it's an album, but it's not, if you know what I mean. Let's just go with that. Fine. Anyway, bye for now. I'm glad you've enjoyed this bonus. If you've enjoyed this bonus ep, and it's opened, give you something fresh to listen to on the weekend when it was released. And swipe up on Spotify. Give me a review, a 5-star review if you can. I'd love it. It just makes more people visible, me more visible to people. And now reaching almost closing in on my 240th episode. It'd be great to spread the word some more. And watch this space, because I will be having the band on again when they release more new material in the future, which I'm looking forward to. Right now, I'm going to go and prepare for some interviews I've got later this afternoon. But bye for now.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, I'm Debbie Millman, and I host a podcast called Design Matters from the TED Audio Collective. Every episode, I have conversations with designers, writers, artists, and other luminaries of contemporary thought. People like Roman Mars, Ai Weiwei, Ethan Hawke, and Ashley Ford. We not only talk about their crafts, but how they design the arc of their lives, what they've learned, what obstacles they've overcome and how they've done it, and how they see the world. Join us for an inquiry into the broader world of creative culture. Find and follow Design Matters with Debbie Millman wherever you're listening to this.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.